All right. Welcome back to another episode of Two Plain Sports. Today, we're going to go over some recent recruiting information. A lot of transfer portal guys are visiting this weekend. So, we're going to cover some of them that are visiting Norman and talk about, what could potentially happen, why they would be interested, and so on. But before we get started, thank you all for everything. I know we say it every single time, and we're going to keep saying it. You're the reason we keep growing. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Go follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Links are down below. Everything's at Two Plain Sports. Spotify, if you don't like looking at us, we understand. Go check us out over there. Download the episodes, follow us on there. Make it easy for you to listen to the podcast every time. Let's get started. So, as you all know, this week has been crazy with Caleb's news, but Jaxson Dart entered the transfer portal earlier this week, and it looks like he's going to be visiting this weekend, and he'll be in Norman with his teammate and four-star tight end coming out of high school, Michael Triggs, I believe his name is. So we will be getting a couple of former Trojans in Norman. Brum, you want to kick us off with some of their information?
Yeah, so obviously Jaxson Dart, I think we've briefly talked about him on a couple other videos previously, but he's 6'3", 220-pound quarterback from USC, originally from Draper, Utah. He has an extremely high ceiling, and he played in a few games last year for the Trojans. A mobile dual threat guy, and would fit perfectly in Jeff Lebby's system. And it makes total sense why the Sooners are trying to get him on campus. Obviously, they just had Chubba Purdy on campus, but I would imagine that Dart is a take over Purdy every day of the week. And obviously, Purdy landed, I think it was Tuesday. He came on campus. I don't know if he's still there or not at this point. He probably has moved on to Nebraska. I know that was his next stop. Dart and Trigg are coming. Trigg, he's 6'3", 230-pound tight end from SC as well. He's originally from Tampa. In the 2021 class, he was the four-star tight end. He was the number 130 overall kid. He had 7 catches, 109 yards, and 1 touchdown as a freshman. We posted on our Twitter account a little earlier today. If you hadn't already, definitely go follow us on there at Two Plain Sports. But it appears that Trigg and Dart are a package deal. And the reason why Trigg is leaving, according to his father, is he wants Michael to go to a school where he's a high volume pass catcher, which, that's fair to say. He only had 7 catches last year, and he seems to be boys with Dart. So they seem to be coming together. Ole Miss is the main competition, and they will be going on to visit together at Ole Miss after this.
I thought they were at Ole Miss today or yesterday or something.
No, so they're going Oklahoma first and then Ole Miss after. But the plan originally was to go to Oklahoma, or to go to Ole Miss, then Oklahoma. But it seems like, according to the reports, that they have flip-flopped that, and they're going to Oklahoma first. I don't know exactly what day.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. Yeah, you lead us off. What do you think?
I don't know. First of all, going back to the Chubba Purdy, Jaxson Dart debate, not only is Jaxson Dart, in my opinion, and I think all of our opinion here, the better quarterback overall, but he also is a package deal with a 4-star tight end. Going back to what you said, I think it's a no-brainer, Dart over Purdy, if it comes down to both of them. I do think Ole Miss is going to be tough competition for their services, because if you look at Ole Miss, I feel like if you're Jaxson Dart, you might feel safer as far as starting at Ole Miss, considering Matt Corral is league bound. And if you come to Oklahoma, you know that Dylan Gabriel is Jeff Lebby's boy, so he's got a competition. That being said, I think Oklahoma is a better place for them. I think I saw it was Matt Corral on Twitter or something talking about how Jeff Lebby is absolutely going to be the play caller at OU, and that's something he's been wanting to do, solo dolo for a while now, and that's going to be the biggest things. And I think Matt Corral's exact words were he's a genius with the X's and O's and drawing up offensive schemes and things of that nature. And that's pretty high praise from a guy who's going to be probably a top 10 pick in this upcoming draft here in April. If I were Jeff Lebby when Jaxson Dart gets to town, and they're sitting there face to face with each other, I would just call Matt Corral and put him on speaker and be like, what do you think of me, Matt Corral? Essentially like that. Essentially just be like, hey, tell this kid why he should come play for me. Kind of like suck yourself off a little bit in a nice way, but I mean that's what I'm saying. You got to kind of suck yourself off. You're selling these kids to you in the program, and if you can get an endorsement from a future top 10 pick in the draft, I think that's going to go a long way with a quarterback, especially. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how this recruiting trip goes. I'll be following it closely. I'm sure we'll be tweeting about it and keeping everybody updated. But hopefully we land that kid, man, because he's a package deal with a 4-star tight end, and that's fun.
Yeah, I think that's the most appealing thing to me is that it seems like Trigg is going to follow wherever Dart goes. Not that Dart isn't an amazing quarterback, because he is, and I think it'd be great to have him as a Sooner, because then there's a legit competition. And whatever questions some people may have about Gabriel, if he is to win out and be the starter, will be, they'll be gone, because they'll know that he's a more talented quarterback on the roster at that point, and there'd be a really good backup behind him, and a good guy that is going to develop pretty well, more than likely. Dart is no slouch. He was a 4-star and as a high school player, and now he's a 5-star as a transfer. So guy's talented and he'll be able to play wherever he goes. I do agree that it's kind of Ole Miss is going to be big competition because of their situation right now with no legit number 1 quarterback. It seems like it'll just be interesting to see how they each team sells the offense, because they're kind of in the same boat right now. Lane Kiffin's going to say it sounds like there was like a split in responsibility at Ole Miss with the play calling on the offensive side. So Lane Kiffin is more than likely going to do exactly what Brandon just said, and Levy should do what Brandon said just now, and finding a way to like sell their success in Matt Corral. And they've kind of just got to sell that success of Matt Corral, because that's the most recent. It's going to be probably the most impactful, because sports are what have you done for me lately business, and both of those guys can take credit for Corral. So then it's going to just have to be a fit. And I think with the fact that the tight end's dad wants him to be more of a pass catching player, he's got the opportunity at Oklahoma, pretty even in regards to how the offense is going to be split with run and pass, and how big he is, he'll be a big target in the end zone, which I think is going to really benefit his draft stock once that time comes for him.
Yeah, I think a couple things. So Brandon, you brought up a good point. I didn't think about calling Matt Corral. And, it would be interesting to see if Levy did call him and say, okay, we were all there with Lane Kiffin. What do you think? I mean, not saying like, do you like me better, but basically kind of breakdown of what you're getting.
No, but basically that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is.
What you're getting with Lane Kiffin and what you're getting with me, and you're getting it from a guy who's a top 10 pick. I mean, maybe he shoots him straight and says, I think Lane Kiffin's better, but from what he said, he's been very vocal about Levy publicly, at least.
He's been very open, very, very publicly, or very public about his support and excitement for Jeff Levy. I feel like he would endorse Levy in half a second. And I think that endorsement, imagine you're a 19, 20-year-old kid. I don't know exactly what Jaxson Dart is, but I imagine he's one of those two ages. And you're sitting there across from this guy who could be your coach, and he calls a top 10 pick, in 3 months, that dude's going to be a millionaire. He's on the phone with him, and in the future millionaire, and Matt Corral says, Jeff Levy's the best coach I've ever had. He's such a good quarterback developer. He's this and that, just has nothing but high praise for Jeff Levy. I feel like it's going to be really hard for a kid to hear that and then be like, what, F that, I'm out.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that's a great recruiting tactic. And I feel like Corral would do that for him. But the other side, as far as Trigg goes, what could be interesting, what plays into his mind, with his dad saying he wants his son to be, a high volume pass catcher. After seeing what like Austin Stogner did last year, that has to be ringing some alarm bells and be like, I got to get out of USC. I mean, what they did with Stogner last year, who was a great tight end, that can't be me, and that might be like why he's wanting to be out. And he saw Dart's leaving, because Dart, whether Caleb's there or not, is probably thinking, well, Lincoln's trying to get another quarterback. He doesn't really care about me, so I don't care about him. And Trigg was like, well, one, Stogner struggled, and two, I'm gonna go with my boy. So I think he's just saw a way out, and I would imagine he has no interest in either one of them going back to USC. So it's either going to be Oklahoma or Ole Miss at this point. I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's tough for to predict how these guys are going to land because of I think that the religion for Jaxson is going to be that might play a big factor, and I'm not really sure which area has a place where he'll be the most comfortable in. I mean, we went to Norman, but I've never been to Oxford, so I can't speak for the culture there. But it's pretty chill in Norman. I don't know if he's kind of a more laid back guy, and if Oxford is more of a rowdy party area, that might be the one thing that kind of tips him over the edge one way or the other is which place he can be more of himself and where his personality will thrive.
Yeah, I guess I want to get before we move on. I want to get each one of your takes. What do you think about them flipping their visit to Oklahoma first, then Ole Miss last? Jose, do you think that's going to factor into anything? I mean, I don't really know what the reason is, but and me personally, I feel like I always like to be the last one, be the one on their mind. The last person that I talked to or last person I saw, I feel like you might have a leg up, but it might not matter. What do you think?
I don't think it matters, but it will be now. It's just going to have to be who makes the best first impression. So OU's got to be if they really want either one of the players or both. We're assuming they're going to go to the same place. So if they really want both or just one, they're going to have to put their best foot forward and make sure that they can beat out Lane Kiffin because Lane is a good recruiter. I mean, that's just a fact. He was at USC and his recruiting classes weren't terrible there. So he knows what he's doing. He knows how to recruit kids from that area of the country. So, we just got to see what Levy can do and Venables to convince these guys that this is the offense that you're going to thrive in and give Dart that, vote of confidence. Like you have an opportunity to start here. Like you're not going to come here to be the automatic backup. Like you can be the starter here next year if you can outperform Gabriel.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Brum. I'd like to be the last word, but I don't think it means too much. We don't know exactly why it went from Ole Miss to Oklahoma. It could be, whatever, any number of reasons for that happening. I don't think we should put too much weight into it. But I mean, I would like to be the last word, but I don't think we need to put too much weight into that.
No, yeah, I agree. It's just a preference that it is what it is at this point. I mean, you might as well take it. Getting them on campus is a win as it is, and that wasn't a for sure thing in the very beginning. But anyway, so I think that's all I've got on them. I mean, obviously we all agree that they're going to take one more quarterback, whether it's Dart, Purdy, or Caleb Williams if he never announces his transfer to USC or anywhere else. But yeah, I don't know. So I think that's all I've got on them, unless you guys have got any more. So we can talk about another transfer, which I think every one of us are very familiar with. And if anyone's been following OU in the recruiting over the past few years, is Drew Sanders. So for anyone that doesn't know, he's a 6'5", 244-pound 5-star in the 2020 class. He's a linebacker, plays at the University of Alabama, or he did. Originally from Denton, Texas. In the last year, he had 24 tackles with 2.5 of them being for loss and then a sack. And he played a ton of special teams. He started 3 games. He appeared in 11 for the Crimson Tide. He originally committed to the Sooners in November of 2017 and ended up flipping to Alabama in April of 2019. And he was being recruited in a position for Oklahoma that he didn't want to play. He wanted to be a linebacker, so he went somewhere that he could be a linebacker, which I still remember that day, which is so mind-boggling that a 5-star kid that wants to play a linebacker, that can play linebacker, you told him no, and that's a Mike Stoops special. It's just, I couldn't believe it at the time. So we got a shot. It seems like he probably will visit here pretty soon in the next week or so. The main competition is Arkansas and Texas. Brandon, what do you think about Drew Sanders and his potential of becoming a Sooner?
I think if you want to be a linebacker, why would you not want to play for Brent Venables? I mean, to me, it's actually that simple. Arkansas, there's a lot of hype around them. I think they're gonna start next season ranked pretty good. Somewhere in that 15 area. So I mean, that's whatever. I'm not saying they're bad or anything, and Texas just sucks ass. So it doesn't. I mean, truly, they're horrible. And I don't know anything about their defense, although it surrenders a lot of points. And that's all you know about Texas. So, but without any of that, like if you're a linebacker, why would you not want to play for Brent Venables? I think it's that simple.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And with Belai coming over from Bama, even though it's not, the position coach he was working with, doesn't mean he wasn't able to create a relationship with the entire defensive staff or other position coaches. So I think that will give him someone that he's comfortable with coming over to Oklahoma, where they both have probably a similar mindset and how they're going to approach practice and how they're going to approach games and game preparation. So, and it's going to be big for OU because he'll be able to instill an SEC mindset to the younger guys that are going to come in behind him, like Kobe and Jaron and Kip. All the linebackers that are coming in this class. This guy's going to could having a big impact on them as a mentor moving forward in their football careers, because it seems like those guys will be around at least for 1 year once Oklahoma makes the transition to the SEC.
That's what I was about to say. If Sanders ends up being a Sooner, holy cow, this linebacker depth in this linebacker room has gotten tremendously better in a matter of a month or two. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be a Sooner. I really like their odds, being committed to a school for, a year and a half or whatever. And that's a long time. And, you only switched because they wouldn't let you play at a certain position and a whole new regime now. And like you said, Brandon, why wouldn't you want to play for Brent Venables? I mean, when you're comparing to Arkansas and Texas, I mean, the resume speaks for itself. I really hope that they can get him on campus. I'd imagine they're going to at least get their shot, but we're going to know soon. I mean, classes are starting soon, and I really have a good feeling about him. Maybe I'm just being naive and a homer because, sometimes I am, but I really think that the Sooners have got a great shot at landing Sanders. So
yeah, it's their guy to lose. That seems like at this point.
Yeah. You guys have anything to add about Sanders and the potential? The thing I was going to say, the one thing I like is how much special teams he played for Nick Saban, because we need great special teamers.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. So the last guy, not a transfer. His name is Josh Conerly, 6'5", 275-pound offensive tackle from Seattle, Washington. He's a 2022 5-star, number 23 overall, number 3 offensive tackle. He recently announced Oklahoma as in his top 6 at the All-American game, and he is planning a visit with Oklahoma this upcoming weekend. And then we'll play in the Polynesian Bowl. I believe it's the weekend after. And then he's planning some visits after that to various schools. He's only visited Michigan to this point. He's got a few more lined up after the Polynesian Bowl. He's not planning to sign in February because he's going to be taking visits during that time. I just think, again, just getting a guy like him on campus. I know it's late. It's very late in the cycle. I mean, he's huge. He's a number 23 overall. Getting him on campus at this point, between him and Campbell being in the runnings right now, I feel like it just speaks to Bedenbaugh and his his abilities and his recruiting. Jose, what do you think about him?
He would be an awesome guy to have, especially for future, because he's an enormous human being. But I think we're gonna have a lot of competition to get him to be a Sooner. I mean, Coach B's got the resume to show, like, come play with me and I can put you in the league. But the fact that he's from the Northwest, probably want to be in an area where his family might be able to watch him every once in a while, or at least be able to visit him easily. So that's kind of the the draw away from being a Sooner. is family's it's gonna be tough for him to see family regularly. So it just depends on, if he is he a guy that like a McClellan that is just kind of looking for a way out of where he's from, which isn't a bad thing. It's just people have different motivators. Or is he wanting to stay close enough to home where mom and dad can see him regularly or somewhat regularly?
Well, Norman's not all that far from Seattle. I mean, you can drive it. It's, you know what I mean? It's in the same
It's in the same country.
Yeah, it's not even like Hawaii where you can even drive there. So like, if you think about it, it's not that bad. It can be done. You could drive up. You could leave every Thursday, get there for game time, and leave, and you'd still be back at work Monday morning. So I mean, quit complaining. If you really want to see your kid play, drive your car, fly plane, whatever. It's not that far. Get your mind right. That's how I feel about that, first of all. Second of all, Bill Bedenbaugh is one of the best offensive line coaches in the entire country, and his resume does speak for itself as far as that goes. He's put many, many, many players in the NFL. He won the whatever award, the best offensive line in the country. Where I can't, the name of the award is slipping me right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? That we won that, yeah. When we had Samia and that whole company and Baker Mayfield's year, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's coached the best offensive line in the country. He's put multiple dudes in the NFL. So we can sell that. We can sell the quick Seattle to Norman drive, and then what we can also sell is, or not sell anything, but like this kid is probably the one I'm most excited about. Anybody who's almost 6'5", 280, put them on my team. That is what we want on our team. That is what competes against these big boys in Alabama and Georgia, who have 6'7", 475-pound, 4.5 defensive ends. Like, this is what we need to hang on the next level with these guys. Very, very excited about him. He's probably one I'll be following the closest. Yeah, I really hope we get that kid.
And I was going to say, speaking of the size, I think, for anyone that is new around here, I think we need to explain what our name really means and the origin of it. I mean, Brandon, I'm going to give you credit for this because you did come up with this initially. This has been a long time running joke between us, but we want our guys to be, we want the team to be so heavy and so large that they have to take 2 planes to away games. And because games are won and lost in the trenches, and that's the truth. And you're exactly right. This kid, the frame he's got is exactly what we need to compete against those Alabama, and Georgia defensive ends and defensive linemen that are enormous. And we just want giant guys to win in the trenches. And that's the reason why we're 2 Plane Sports. Huge humans. That's what we need.
Yeah. And it's going to be a lot more true now with Venables in this regime. The culture of recruiting that it seems like they're going after is big and strong, and they're not trying to give up any speed with adding those components. Lincoln and Grinch were big on speed, and they just wanted to outcondition everyone out. Speed kills, but sometimes when someone's strong enough to put you down on your butt, you're not moving anywhere. So it's just different. And I mean, one thing worked for Lincoln, there was things that stopped him from succeeding at points, but it worked. He got us to a lot of big milestones. But I think Venables and the way he's recruiting now, it's going to take us to a different level, especially again when moving over to the SEC. I mean, we see guys like Jordan Davis, that he's probably one of the biggest humans. Even just watching him on TV, he's bigger than everyone he's playing against. And if we don't have anyone to at least have comparable size to him, we're just going to get run over every single year once we move to the SEC.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that will definitely change.
Time to get big. Drink some milk.
Schmitty's going to beef him up.
Wait up.
Yeah. Schmitty's going to beef him up. It's not going to be, CrossFit and yoga like maybe the last regime.
We're getting farmers raised on the dairy who are huge.
Yeah. So I think that's all I've got, though.
They're all going to go join Rame out as ranch hands every
That's
spring.
what we need, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
That's 100%. I 100% agree. But I think that's all I've got on this. I mean, we've got there's a ton of stuff going on. There's going to be more videos on recruiting, and it's just a crazy time. It's just we're trying to get the videos out as fast as we can.
Cool. Well, you want to wrap it up for us, Brandon?
Yeah, so we're gonna we talked a little bit before we started the show tonight, and we're gonna switch it up. So if you stuck around this long, it really does mean a lot to us, and we appreciate it. So we're gonna take your suggestions instead of an end of video comment challenge. So if you made it this far, comment what you want to see in these next upcoming videos, whether it be recruiting, whether it be about a certain recruit. If you want us to go a full show on Jaron Kanak, if you want a full show on Dylan Gabriel, whatever. Whatever you want to see from us in these next upcoming videos, drop a list of 3 or 4 video ideas that you want to see, and we'll make it happen for you guys for making it this long. We appreciate it.
Yep. Just make sure you do that. It's going to help us out a lot. We want to make sure we're putting out content you guys actually want to watch. So right after you leave that comment, exit the comment section, go like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, because it's only like 25% of you. So we know some of you guys are coming back and just not clicking that subscribe button. It's free. We're not charging. Just click it, and then you can exit out of the video. If you're still here, turn on the notification bell. Follow us on social media at 2 Point Sports, Twitter and Instagram. Links are down below. And if you're here at this point, I'm assuming you kind of like looking at us, but if it's inconvenient for you to click on YouTube sometimes, go follow us on Spotify. Again, at 2 Point Sports. Link is down in the description. Thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you next time.